Hey everybody, it's Jeremy. Welcome back to Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous. This is our Beast Tamer Bard build, episode 92, and we are going through some of the events in Dresden. So we have Grandma Gretlin, the director. Okay, so the theater troupe, gotcha. Good day, your commandership. It is we, the artistic board of the next door theater. We're still working on our piece about your heroism. We have even taken on a few new crew members. We now have a master of stage equipment and scenery. It's my granddaughter, Tina. Tina, say hello to his commandership. Tina? I don't know. When we are faced with another dilemma, we simply can't decide on a climactic moment for the act that's all about the Battle of Dresden. Here, you listen to the options. Okay, theater group. You really, I think I got other stuff to maybe do. Grandma Gretlin holds a scroll up before her eyes and begins to read, running a gnarled finger along each line. Option 1. The commander, so that's you, launches himself out of a catapult and smashes down the fortress wall, allowing the armies to rush inside. Option 2. The commander, so that's you again, masquerades as a succubus and creeps into Dresden in disguise and thus opens the gates to the Crusaders. Option 3. The commander, again you, rides to the attack on an enormous mountain goat, or should we call it a battering ram, and it breaks down the city gates. Well, what say you? Oh no, you can kick him out entirely. I like the catapult or the battering ram. Let's go with the battering ram. I like the version where I ride on the back of an enormous mountain goat, but where are you going to get a goat of that size? We're still working on that part, your commandership. It's hard to get a goat in the middle of the world wound, especially an enormous one. But we'll think of something, don't you worry. Grandma Gretlin and her entourage move away, but their voices project so well that you can easily hear the rest of the conversation. You think the commander will mind if we add the goat and the catapult to the show? That way, the bit where he breaks down the gate will make for a much better drama. What the fuck? Granny, did you forget that the role of the commander is being played by those gnome twins packed into one long coat? Has anyone ever tried firing two gnomes in a cloak out of a catapult before? The fuck? Calm yourself, Tina. It's just a minor stag. You can't achieve success without a few difficulties along the way. We'll think of something. You'll see. Goodness. Alrighty then. Ah, Lady Kanomi. She looks fucking badass. That is a cool outfit. Can I zoom in? That's a cool outfit. Hell yeah. A sharp-looking kitsune gives you a quick business-like bow. Commander, the matters before us are urgent, so let's not stand on ceremony. I am Lady Kanomi, the official attaché of Nerosian. Here are my credentials. She presents a scroll adorned with Galfrey's seal. Her Majesty has instructed me to lead your headquarters diplomatic council. Honestly, I was surprised that Lady Kanomi asked me to join this council, but I will do my best to fill the shoes of a trained diplomat. Lan? What? Yeah, strange. I got invited to the council too. I'm sure foreign ambassadors will be thrilled to see my face and my manners. Lady Kanomi, you haven't mistaken me for some other Crusader, Lan, have you? And Dayren. Okay, actually, I'm liking the council. I, like many nobles, have been trained in diplomacy, and in fact, I hold the title of Royal Emissary. It is passed down the Arendelle line. I must say that prior to this day, I employed my diplomatic skills solely to undermine Mindev's international reputation. It is time to break that habit. I imagine preventing international scandals will be just as interesting as causing them. Who knows? I might even enjoy it. What's the Diplomatic Council and why do I need it? To solve matters of politics, of course. The Crusade is more than just battles and sieges. It is the largest military project in all of Avestan, funded by the treasuries of more than a dozen major powers, and each one of those powers, in addition to seeking victory over the demons, also pursues its own goals. The diplomatic council will manage this tangle of political interest and prevent the crusade from losing the favor of influential benefactors. And while we're at it, ensure that Nerosian remains satisfied with the state of affairs. After all, for the last 100 years, the entirety of Mendevian politics has revolved around the Crusades in some shape or form. That is why the capital has sent me here, to observe, offer suggestions, and keep the diplomatic situation under control. I see, you've been sent to keep an eye on me. Whatever gave you that idea, Commander? I'm not an overseer, I'm your loyal advisor. I do not intend to meddle in the way you run things, just consult with you in cases where the price of error is too high. Put your trust in me, and we'll get along swimmingly. After all, none of us here want to see Cheliax or Druma at each other's throats, trying to settle their dispute by using their influence on us as a political leverage. Am I wrong? And I doubt you would like it if we made enemies in the ranks of Nerosian nobility who would attempt to undermine your war effort. This won't happen as long as you trust my experience. Tell me more about the Royal Council. What is it? The Royal Council, operating under Her Majesty, is the highest governing body in Mindev and comprises her most able and trusted servants. It is responsible for day-to-day matters of state. They are the hands and the voice of the Queen. The Council has gathered people from all walks of life. Some of them are nobles, but many more are citizens of humble origins who earned their position through their wit. Many are rich, but a fair number of them are of more humble means. Some are pious and pure of heart, like Lord Inquisitor Kasori and Captain Jaspar of the Crusader Heralds. Others are more flexible and ambitious, but each of them faithfully serves Mindev's cause. Okay. I have a question about the composition of this council. You find someone's presence surprising? I don't want anyone removed. I just want to hear her reasons for why she likes them. Zosiel has never had to deal with diplomatic concerns before. That won't be a problem. In my homeland, Tianxi, I think? Tianxi? Cha? Every time, I've looked up how to pronounce XIA 50,000 times, and every time I forget it. Anyways, inviting clerics and paladins of Shellen, the Lady of Chrysanthemums, to take part in diplomatic missions is a common practice. They may not be politicians, but they are perceptive, advocate peace, and favor balanced solutions. I'm flattered by the respect that the worshippers of my goddess receive in Lady Konomi's homeland. Zosiel bows his head courteously. I won't let you down, Kachek, and I'll make every effort to prevent our friends from becoming our enemies. What did you want Dayren to take part? Why did you want to take Dayren? That one. Why? Because of Count Arende's influence, naturally. He's a Mendevian aristocrat. The nobility will be inclined to listen to his opinion, and by ensuring the support of the nobles, we'll find ourselves powerful allies. Dayren sneers back at her. Oh, believe me, Lady Konomi, I will exert all my influence and effort to make this council's job exciting. Dayren, behave. Why did you choose land to join the council? This is an interesting one. We diplomats call this little trick Mysterious Garundi Prince. During negotiations, it's always useful to have on your side a representative of some obscure but potentially populous and powerful nation. Without knowing what they're up against and how many mongrels there are, our diplomatic partners will have to contend with this dark horse. So, Mr. Lan will be our mongrel prince. If we're negotiating with foreign ambassadors and I make this sign, Lady Konomi crosses her fingers in an intricate gesture, you immediately start talking about how offensive their proposition is to the mongrel people. Do we have a deal, Mr. Lan? Oh no! Oh no, it's Lan is there to play the offense card. Like, I'm so offended. I cannot believe you've said this. My people will hate yours and wage war on you for 1,000 years, right? Like, fuck you. That's so... Oh, no. Lan scoffs and glowers at Lady Konomi. I suspected the word diplomat was synonymous with fraud, but I thought you would be deceiving me. not deceiving others with my help. No, that's not an option. I can represent the mongrels in negotiations, but I'm not going to lie through my teeth. Good job, Lan. Tell me about yourself, Lady Konomi. Who are you? Lady Konomi lowers her eyes in a show of modesty. It's unbecoming of a diplomat to talk about themselves at length, but how am I to refuse you? I come from Tianxi, from the noble Kitsune. Like any Kitsune, I have always been curious to a fault. My adventures brought me to Avestan, and here in your lands I met my first and true love, politics. I've served as a diplomat in the courts of 6 different sovereigns, but working for Her Majesty turned out to be the most interesting of all. Such riveting webs of intrigues and interest are spun around the crusade and the world wound. Am I gonna get this for like every council we set up? There's 3 more councils. That's really interesting. Everything's clear to me now. In that case, why don't we discuss our first pressing diplomatic... let's do it. What's on today's the agenda? I hate to say it, Commander, but not everyone in Nerosian is pleased with your progress. Some believe that, to use their words, you're out of control and fancy yourself an independent leader. It wouldn't surprise me if you encountered supply disruptions in the near future. I would suggest quelling their anger. Show the capital you haven't forgotten about the chain of command. For example, you could hold a parade in honor of Her Majesty. If we need to demonstrate that we're keeping Nerosian in mind, why don't we invite the capital's high priest to Dresden for a religious festival? It'll be appropriate, and the church's support will shield us from the accusations of schemers. Social feels like he fits in already. Oh no, no, everyone's gonna give a different option. Oh, fuck. Gah. Pander to the naysayers. I think not. I propose we hold a parade in your honor, K-Jack. This is your victory, and if Cousin Galfrey wants to show off in front of the soldiers, she's welcome to capture something of her own. Wow, Daren. Lan's eyes flash with anger. Are they out of their mind? We've got a whole Dresden full of soldiers who need medicine, food, and weapons. Until everyone has been taken care of, we won't waste a single coin on pointless celebrations. Oof. What did I do to incur Nerosian's discontent? You were too good. You reclaimed Canabras. You won the Battle of Dresden. You're a menace to the world wound. Your authority grows, and the influence of the Queen's confidants diminishes. This creates the impression that there's only enough space for you at the top. The members of the Royal Council are afraid that you will muscle them out of the political arena altogether. After all, if you're doing so well, maybe Her Majesty doesn't need them that much. Therefore, they might try to discredit you, impede your war effort, reduce the scale of your victories. Make some concessions, and they'll see that you're open to negotiations. What's number 2? Whatever for. Aren't the wishes of the capital obvious enough? Very well, let us hear their counsel. I like this. This is interesting. This is honestly actively interesting. I think I like Socials so far, but I want to see kind of their reasoning. Social, how does inviting the High Priest to a festival help us? Without a doubt, we should remain loyal to the Queen and respect the hierarchy. But that doesn't mean we have to kowtow to the Royal Council whenever they ask. I think we should neither do their bidding nor seek to quarrel with them. Rather, we should try to take the middle path. And Konomi, like, pegged him, right? She said that, people, the priests of his order or of his goddess always do that. They always try to take the middle path, right? The High Priest of Nerosian is a powerful figure, yet he's not a schemer or a politician. By inviting him to the festival, we'll both show that we're not cutting ties with Nerosian and let them know that we have influential friends and are not about to buckle under buckle under to the Royal Council. Interesting. Okay. I still like that idea. Darren, what's the point of taunting the capital by throwing a parade in my honor? There's a fine line between taunting and setting boundaries, and between showing respect and pulling on a collar. Mind you, I'm not suggesting anything treasonous or disrespectful. A parade in the honor of the true hero of Dresden and Canabras. What could be more natural than that? Besides, a healthy amount of disobedience guarantees that people won't pester you with lectures and nonsense as often. A dozen tuners responsible for my upbringing can attest to that. Provoking the capital would be unwise. We're trying to avoid unpleasant consequences, not expedite them. I'm sure that was merely an extravagant jest on the Count's part. I mean, I do understand where he's coming from. Like sometimes if you're, from the concept of if your political opponents are expecting intrigue and subtle negotiation, a sudden clapback, right? Of like, I'm not fucking around, or like a very clear, like, I'm not playing your games, you can play mine, can be a good, maybe not a good, can be a shocking event that can sway things in your favor. Lan, do you think ignoring the capital's worries is a good idea? And what are they going to do about it? We're the ones protecting them from the demons, not the other way around. Having loyalties from the capital is great, but there are more important things, like having the loyalty of our own soldiers. When the demons come, what will we do? Shake our fists and say we've got powerful friends in Neurosian? Why, that's true. Who needs to stay friends with those who supply you with provisions, recruits, and weapons? There's certainly no reason to fear that base jealousy and envy at the sight of your glory might get the better of their common sense, because that's never happened before. I'm with Kenomi on this one. Like, I do get Lan's point, right? We need to take care of our people first, especially the fact that we have wounded and people to feed, and etc. But we don't take care of them by driving a wedge between us and the people that we're dealing with, right? And then, Lady Kenomi, what good will a parade in Her Majesty's honor do? This is actually kind of what I'm interested in. It will be symbolic and affordable. Show them how much you respect and value Her Majesty. Make a curtsy to those who pay for your arrows, swords, and bread. The Royal Council has power. You wouldn't want to turn those patrons into adversaries and test whose influence is greater, yours or theirs. Please them, and they will stop worrying about your loyalty. And you will be able to focus on your war. So let me get this straight. Hiding behind our backs and buying their safety from the demon invasion with bread and other people's lives is a new form of charity? Are you sure we shouldn't go to them, drop to our knees, and thank them for allowing us to die in this war? Oof, Lan, you're not wrong, but also very wrong. Right? It's the concept of, yes, right? What you're saying is true, but not doing that. What's the alternative, right? Is either we go it alone, which is gonna just lead to us failing, or we take what we need from them by force, which turns into a revolt, right? Which is gonna lead to a civil war. How's that gonna help defeat the demons? Okay, everything is clear. My order of priorities is, I actually think in this particular instance, my Lan and Dayron are kind of like at the bottom for me on this. I don't want to clap back and piss off the Royal Council with Dayron's idea. And while I do again believe that Lan's right, he has merit, I don't think it's right. I don't think it's mutually exclusive. We can take care of our own while also giving the nod to the Royal Council. Now, the question is how best to give the nod, right? holding a parade for Her Majesty is the clear favoring the Royal Council, but basically saying, look, Royal Council, I'm just here to do the world wound. You guys calm down. It's fine, right? It's fine. Whereas Socials is kind of the scenario of like, look, I'm not interested in playing your games. I understand you have power, but I also have power. Let's be respectful of one another and do what we're supposed to do. I kind of want to go Social's route, just because I think that is interesting. I also just think the idea of inviting the High Priest of Nerosian to a religious festival in Dresden, you know, he comes here, he could like re-sanctify locations or just add his blessings to locations. I think that would be cool, right? So I'm gonna go with this one. A moment, Commander. I understand that you're used to being the highest authority in all matters, but political decisions are an exception. I am a professional in this field, you are not. By ignoring my recommendations, you are not only deliberately seeking conflict with the capital, but disregarding common sense as well. I urge you to reconsider. You invited my companions to the diplomatic council, and now you refuse to listen to their opinions. I'm simply suggesting that you give your companions time to find their feet in the council and to grasp the principles of being a diplomat. Also, if they weren't on the council, your decisions could be mistaken for the decrees of a tyrant, and that is definitely not the public image you want or need. Ah, now I understand the role I've been given, Lady Konomi. I'm supposed to stand in a pretty doublet and keep my mouth shut. I can promise you the former, but not the latter. Shit. So, fuck. I don't like these options because I don't like the way in which they're stated. I absolutely don't want to say, you think you have the right to talk back to me? Absolutely. You have. One, she's not talking back to me. Two, she has every right. She's my diplomatic advisor. She has every right and indeed needs to speak up to me when she thinks I'm doing something foolish. Right? So that's a crappy response. I would go this route, but I don't like this don't tell me what to do. Absolutely advise me. Technically, don't tell me what to do, but I don't like how short this is. Don't tell me what to do. We're inviting the High Priest. That is all. So I really don't like this response. And this response is, at least, in the very least, it's a scenario where I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, fine. I get what you're saying. I wish the writing on number 3 was different. I wish the writing on number 3 was less belligerent. Because I don't like the idea of sounding belligerent in this moment. That's not the role play that I'm wanting to go with here. So I think we're actually going to go with persuasive speech. And I will say this, the only reason why I'm willing to do this instead is because the idea of the parade in the Queen's honor is a good idea. I do think it's appealing and nice. I just liked Social's idea more. But if the game is going to give me these prompts where it's like, oh, this makes me feel like an asshole if I do these, then I'm just going to drop it and do the original thing. So, persuasive speech, very well, I've changed my mind. We'll hold a parade in the Queen's honor. I'm glad you have listened to my proposal. Making friends in the Royal Council will go a long way. It's good that we've got off on the right foot, Commander. There will be plenty more issues requiring your decision soon, but I do not doubt that we will handle them just as expedient. I would not call that expedient. Alright. Hail, Commander. Before you, an aged yet fit and sturdy Garundi stands at attention. His dark skin has an earthy tone to it, and crystals sparkle forth from where his hair and eyebrows should be, clearly identifying him as an Oread. I think that's how you pronounce it, Oread? Captain Harmatin. chair of your staff council by order of Her Majesty Queen Galfrey, here to deliver a report. Sela's hidden by Calypso. Oof. Oh no. I'm on this council too, Sela salutes briskly. We'll be racking our brains on how to improve troop morale. I reckon the key is to back up our words with actions. Lead your soldiers by example, and they'll be eager to follow. Oh, fucking Regel's in on this one. Drawing on my experience as a paralictor, my advice is to maintain calculated moderation in every regard, be it in incentive or penalty, and to be decisive. We have no need for doubts or turmoil. What? It's Daron on every council? Oh god, I love... I'm doomed to be your advisor, but do you know what that means? That you're doomed to listen to my advice. To start things off, here's an incredibly novel and deep thought for you. Loyalty, passion, and morale. All of these things can easily be bought with money. Oof, Daron. Hard oof. Alright. Commander, permission to report. We've encountered a problem. Although we're still getting volunteers, we're now seeing cases of desertion. Many who joined the Dresden campaign believe that their duty has been fulfilled with the victory, and they are not keen on staying in the garrison. Those from Canabras wish to return home and rebuild their ruined city. Lastly, there are those who are afraid of lingering in a place where demons might show up with a retaliatory expedition at any moment. My suggestion is to improve living conditions for the privates, raise their pay, give them extra rations, and reward those who have distinguished themselves on the battlefield with commendations and gifts. Soldiers don't want to leave armies that appreciate them. Okay, yeah, that's sound advice. Like, anyone else, whatever advice anyone else gives is gonna have to be real fucking, like, novel to beat that. I feel for these folks, but we got to convince them to stay. I think we might get some help from the servants of the gods. They'll tell the soldiers that the danger has not yet passed and inspire them to keep up the fight against evil. As long as the wound is open, the whole world is in danger. We can't just go home and live like we used to, no matter how badly we want that to happen. Most of the Crusaders are volunteers, but they have no right to subvert military discipline. That kind of attitude is tantamount to treason, regardless of who expresses it. We have to identify the instigators, arrest them, and administer harsh punishment to make an example of them. Absolutely fucking not, Rigel. This problem is quite simply solved with coin, but handing money out to privates is practically throwing it away. We need to pay the officers handsomely. Then they'll figure out how to raise their subordinates' morale. Some trickle-down economics over there, Daron. Fuck off. Okay. And we'll go through the whole shebang with this guy, too. What does the staff council do? In short, we make sure that whenever orders are given, they are executed properly. Our job is to keep the soldiers' morale high, so they always follow their officers' commands without question. As for the officers themselves, we look out for any unseemly or incompetent types who subvert the troops' trust. Okay. I have questions for the council. Sela, what do you bring to the council? It's pretty self-explanatory. We're not fighting for a sawmill here. This is a crusade against the abyss. When you're up against demons, you bring a paladin. It's a rule that's tried and very much true. Yeah, okay. Fair enough. Regil, what kind of help can I expect to get from you on this council? I have extensive experience being in command, and, as a Hell Knight, I possess a firmness that some of your other officers may be lacking. The essence of my counsel is not to spoil your troops, but to maintain their discipline strategically. Amidst the chaos of war, a general has to be a beacon of order and purpose for their soldiers. They will be just as grateful to receive rewards or lashes from such a general, and most importantly, they won't even think to disobey their orders. I'm just like, Regil is just like the essence of what I dislike. Daron, what are you doing on this council? Mostly, I'm just waiting for it to end. But, since I have little choice, I'll give you some advice on how to charm your subordinates, be they people of importance or simple commoners. I'll tell you the biggest secret straight away. 3. Money. Gold is the most miraculous power there is. Alright. Captain Harmatan, why did the Queen appoint you to preside over this council? I'd been in the Osirian infantry for 100 years, fighting for 3 pharaohs. Then, after I joined the Crusaders, I served Her Majesty Galfrey for 2 more decades. I dare to hope that I've gained decent experience over those years. Nice. Let's discuss our options in further detail. Sela, what's your plan? The situation is not that dire. Morale is high, and we just won a major victory. So some have let down their guards. We have to call for priests and paladins to get it through to the volunteers that it's still early for celebration. If they leave for their homes today, Dresden will fall again tomorrow, and the day after the demons will show up on their doorstep. Servants of the gods are indeed the masters of sweet-talking others into dying free of charge, all through pretty words. But when the choice comes down to inspired preaching or homemade pies, 9 of every 10 will look for comfort in their home and at their table. Their incentive needs to be more substantial than wasted breath. I don't disagree with you on that one, Darren. Regil, what do you suggest? There is no place in the army for the mindset of playing soldier today than going home tomorrow. These dangerous ideas must be suppressed with the utmost harshness. We'll identify the most vocal rabble-rousers and exact punishment on them as an example to others. They may be volunteers, but they join the rank of the Crusaders. We can't abet in their rejection of their responsibilities, or we'll be heading toward complete chaos, and therefore defeat. That's a great plan. If you want your soldiers to run back home twice as fast, they came here of their own volition. We must convince them to stay, not terrorize them into fighting. I agree, Sela. Davrin, your opinion, please? Our forces are in good spirits. It's just that the euphoria of victory has gone to a few heads. No one can sober them up quicker than the officers, especially those of lower rank. We'll give our dear oafs, all those sergeants and corporals, a bonus on the sly, then promise to sweeten the deal once they've convinced the volunteers to stay. Perhaps they will do so over a beer mug, or maybe with a broken nose. Why bother solving any problems yourself when you can push them off on someone you pay? Oh my god, Darren. Your bot loyalty will run out even sooner than your gold. Once soldiers turn into profiteers, instead of following orders, they start appraising them. They'll wonder whether or not it's worth their while to obey their general. I hardly need to explain the effect this will have on discipline. Alright, Harmatan. The volunteers believe that we almost won. Great. Let's not ruin this pretty illusion. Instead, we'll turn it to our advantage. We'll increase rations and pay for the privates, rewarding the most distinguished with commendations and gifts. Who would abandon the victors when they provide you with good food and even better coin? It's naive to expect the troops won't understand that we would just be trying to appease them. An army cannot stand if it's held together by handouts and desperate promises. What? We're not lying to them. We shouldn't lie to our soldiers. If we build up flimsy illusions now, the demons will shatter them later. Those fighting alongside us must recognize the seriousness of the situation instead of celebrating victory when the war has just begun. The war has just begun, but we have achieved a great victory, a celebratory victory, right? I'm all with Harmatan on this one, right? Like, reward people, give out commendations, but make it clear we've still got things to do. I don't hate Sela's option, and Darren's option isn't a horrible thing. like, increasing the pay of the officers isn't a horrible idea, right? But the just loose reins of like, all right, we're increasing the officers' pay. You guys get everyone else in line, right? That's a big no-no. We're going with Harmon. At once. I'll distribute the pay and rations right away. The commendation list won't take long either. We should see results shortly. Thank you, Commander. Should any other difficulties arise that require your attention, I'll deliver a new report promptly. Nice. Yeah, this is interesting. Captain Odan. The tall, gaunt half-elf salutes you solemnly. Commander, it is an honor to call this first meeting of the Military Council to order. Oh, so that was the Staff Council. This is the Military Council. Okay, interesting. I am Captain Odan, and I have been serving under your command ever since the assault on the Grey Garrison. I will do my best to be of as much use to you as possible in this role. The foundation of the military is cold calculation and discipline. These are the principles I will seek to impart to the Crusaders. If we are to win this war, we must forget about mercy, for our enemies, for our troops, and for ourselves. Big disagree. Well, Commander, your sister Sela is no renowned general, but she spent half her life tussling with evil. Looks like I'll be stepping up on behalf of all of Iomede's faithful here. I hope my advice will prove useful. We don't have more? Interesting. Captain Odan. The first issue on the Military Council's agenda is the Reorganization of Troops. Our infantry has been bled dry. The forces Her Majesty granted to us were enough to take Dresden, but we need more troops to hold it. Furthermore, the army was assembled in great haste after the assault on Canabras, and was never adequately equipped. Unfortunately, we don't have much time for redeployment. Our scouts report that a powerful Baldur, Khurramzadeh, is already preparing a retaliatory strike on Dresden. But we can rely on freshly conscripted Mendevian soldiers. They may not have the skill, but our strength, as always, lies in the number and the fervor of the volunteers joining the Crusades. We can't throw everyone into the meat grinder. We'll just get our youths killed for nothing. We need to select the best among the recruits, or even better, hold a contest. The bravest and the most capable will join the Crusaders. Their death count is always highest in the infantry. Its purpose is to serve as a shield. It would be wise to invest our resources into hiring and training heavy footmen with shields to ensure maximum protection, even if it limits their mobility and makes them less threatening to the enemy. I actually don't hate that concept. Fuck. Damn it. Regil. Oh no. How dare you? Alright, what does the Military Council do? The Military Council determines the strategy for our troops, enacts army reforms, approves new equipment standards, and makes decisions on all issues regarding military action on the front lines. Why do we have so few advisors comparatively? Are we missing, we're missing options for advisors? Who is this Baldur Khurramzadeh? The most trusted servant of the demon lord Daskari. Among the historians of the Mendevian Crusades, he is known as the strategist of the World Wound. He is not as renowned as Menago, the conqueror of Dresden, or Hepzamira, daughter of Baphomet, but he has claimed the most major victories over the forces of Mendev. He is a general, and quite possibly one of the best tacticians in the entire Abyss. I have been studying his style of warfare for years. He may seem like an ordinary demon, another typical war taskmaster, but that's a fallacy. Like a beast following a scent, he senses weaknesses in his enemy's defenses and strikes at them, sending soldiers to bring targeted carnage. His uncanny charisma attracts more and more soldiers to him, so he's never short on troops and sacrifices them like pawns whenever he pleases in order to achieve his victories. Khurramzadeh is the face of the demon host. For many years I've been gathering research on him, preparing for the day our armies would clash with his once more. I hope my council will help you defeat him. But so far, Khurramzadeh has known no defeats. Interesting. Alright, questions for the advisors. Sela, have you ever commanded an army before? Not on a scale like this, of course not. But I fought evil, and I know its tricks. Besides, war makes people callous, and it's always useful to have a paladin advisor around to remind you at a crucial moment what we're actually fighting for, right? Regil, why do you wish to sit on the military council? I have command experience, and I intend to impart to the Crusaders at least a modicum of the discipline and rigidity of the Hell Knights. The quality of the Mendevian staff currently available to you leaves much to be desired. Regil glances at the wincing Captain Odan. That much is certain. Who are you, Captain Odan? Bows ceremoniously. I've served on the front lines of the Mendevian army for over 25 years, and in that time I've gained a wealth of combat experience. His voice sounds calm, but his face darkens at the mention of a wealth of combat experience. I'm considered one of the foremost experts on tactics and strategy in Queen Galfrey's officer corps. I've spent my whole life studying the craft of warfare, and I'm familiar with the thoughts of all prominent military leaders of the last 5 centuries. Furthermore, I wholeheartedly believe in the traditions of Mendev's military art, and will gladly share my knowledge with you, Commander. Sela, do we really need only the bravest and most capable for our infantry? I mean, we can't send untrained rookies to a slaughter. We have the right to command only those who are ready for battle, those who can defeat the enemy. We must find out who has the skill and the guts. Contests are perfect for that, and a little excitement for our warriors couldn't hurt either. We won't get that many winners, but their strength will come from their prowess, not their numbers. Your proposal would leave us with an infantry full of selfish risk-takers dreaming of glory and valor. That is bad material for a soldier. The infantry's role is to be a shield for the archers and mages. All they're required to do is follow orders and hold the line, unto victory or death. Ambitious loners cherry-picked through contests of skill are not fit to perform this duty. Ooh, unfortunately, still kind of agreeing with Regil. Why do you insist on shield bearers? The infantry is a meat shield intended to catch the blade of the opposing army in its flesh. The shield must be reliable. That is all that is required of it. That is why I would like to see well-armored shield bearers as our foot soldiers. We must have the option of pitting ranks of footmen against a tide of rampaging demons, knowing with certainty that they will not scatter or die until they have completed their task. Alright, Captain Odan, you just want to gather up some recruits from Mendev? Yes. Institute a draft and try to amass as many new soldiers from Mendev and other lands as we can. We've always drawn our strength from our zeal and our determination to oppose evil. If we start holding contests or selections, we'll turn a holy crusade into a job for the chosen few and scare away future volunteers. If we try changing our tried and true tactics, we'll lose valuable time. And our army is in need of fresh blood right now. That is a fair point. So I'm basically in it with either Regil or Odan, and what I'm interested in here is I kind of feel like this is a determination of maybe giving me a unit type of either giving me. So it sounds like we can either get more footmen recruits, right? Or maybe we can start getting shield bearer recruits. Or I don't know about Sela's scenario, maybe champions, right? Like that seems like a viable thing is we get more champion recruits or something like that. All of those are actually interesting to me. Like legitimately from a mechanical standpoint, I'm betting all of these are fine options. So that is pretty cool. From a RP standpoint, though, I'm really leaning more towards Regil and Odan a little bit. I kind of want to go to the Shield Bearers. I will monitor the recruiter's work and the preparation of all necessary equipment. Captain Odan salutes you formally. Thank you for your time, Commander. When the reforms are finished and the ranks of our infantry are replenished, I will assemble the military council to discuss new decisions. Alright, that was cool. And we've got the last one. Logistics. Thorgalinda Stranglehold. I remember her being mentioned by Wilser, I think. Hail, Commander. A middle-aged dwarf who has clearly seen some combat salutes you with one barely moving bone-dry hand. On her face are huge, scarred claw marks. A black eye patch covers one eye, but she's watching you with the other, intent and somber. Thorgalinda Stranglehold, chair of the Logistics Council, at your service. We've got ourselves an ugly situation that requires your decision. Arushale's here? I hope I won't get in anyone's way if I join you. Arushale looks around with visible worry. I think I could give some good advice here, if you don't mind, of course. And Lan. Hopefully this council will benefit from my vast experience surviving with gear that consists of rocks and sticks, and where any dinner that's not squirming on your plate is considered a feast. After all, kind of like our crusade. All in all, kind of like our crusade. I won't lie to you, our logistics are a mess. We need more of everything, and what we do have is in disarray. Crates of provisions are rotting away in storehouses because some idiot quartermaster spilled beer on the papers. And fools are not the worst problem. There's also theft. Some officers grease palms to get a helmet with stylish plumage, or a fancy blade from Nerosian. Meanwhile, that means that ordinary soldiers are being armed with barely more than kitchen knives, hammer and tongs. It's time to give the entire logistics staff the bum's rush. The question is, where do we find capable and honest people to replace them? Interesting. These scoundrels must be replaced with decent, honorable people. Selfless souls who have proven that they put their comrades' lives above all else, especially their own wealth. Surely that's who'll take the best care of our soldiers. Let's get some veterans on the job. People who've had their fill of the front lines and who know firsthand what life is like for a common soldier, what the rations taste like, and how the boots are always the wrong size. My suggestion is to call some experienced, well-connected supply officers from Nerosian. Let them leave their cushy jobs in Mindev and work up a sweat for the good of the crusade. Alright, what's the council's responsibilities? The Logistics Council deals with all matters related to supplying the army. Most issues will be trivial and undeserving of your attention. However, from time to time, serious decisions will need to be made, and that's when I will convene the council. Questions for the council? Arushale, what are you doing on this council? You think I shouldn't have joined? Arushale looks away sheepishly. That is not what I said. It's just, well, I spent a lot of time studying how armies work, both Crusader and Demonic, when I was spying. I think my advice might be useful, or at least I hope it will be. But if I'm a bother, I'll leave, of course. Lan, how can you be of use on this council? I know a thing or two about gathering weapons and provisions. Compared to the war for survival we had to wage underground, you guys have it easy up here. If things go badly, I can teach your troops to live off the land, and how to craft decent weapons from junk. They'll have memories of Land's special stew for years. Not sure those will be fond memories, but they'll remember for sure. Dorgalinda, why were you assigned to head this council? Over my years of doing quartermaster duty, I've managed to develop a bit of a reputation for myself. The units I'm responsible for were always properly equipped, armed and fed. Thieves, scatterbrains, and reprobates promptly get the boot. Bureaucrats who never seem to have anything miraculously find everything they need after meeting with me. In short, don't you worry, Commander. I'm right where I belong. Alright then. Discuss our options in detail. Arushale, what are you suggesting? A quartermaster's job is to care for the well-being of the soldiers they're equipping for battle. That means the best people to appoint to those positions are people who really care. Those who will keep their fighters warm, fed, and properly armed. Maybe they won't have the most experience, but that's alright. It's easier to teach someone numbers and how to run a warehouse than it is to instill a conscience in them. Don't disagree with that. Lan, what would you advise? In our tribe, we believe that the hunter's gear should be entrusted to the most seasoned hunter, to those who stalked the prey themselves and learned the price of a mistake in outfitting, an old bowstring, a dull spear, a tattered cloak, the hard way. I think that's how it should be in the army. Whoever's responsible for supplies must know war firsthand. They must have dragged themselves through the mud of the battlefield, seen with their own eyes how a rotted strap or a boot one size too large can lead to a soldier's death. They must have eaten their share of rotten cabbages and seen carts of horseshoes and pots pull up at their position instead of ammunition because of some clerical error. Assign new quartermasters from the veterans, like Dorgalinda here. I bet they won't steal. And they won't let anyone else steal either. I actually really like Dan. Like, I actually really like both Arushale and Lan's arguments here. Can we not mix them together? Can they not be, like, only pick the most honest of the veterans? Dorgalinda? There are some great workers in Mindev who have been sitting at home for way too long. Let the Queen send them to us. Instead of counting buttons for the frock coats of Nerosian's royal guard, let them sort out our supplies. And they'll already have connections in Nerosian. They could easily have army property decommissioned and later sold to private buyers for next to nothing. And those buyers will just happen to be the same mercenaries we're negotiating with. Dorgalinda makes a face. Connections are all too important, as you well know. I'm actually kind of inclined to go with Lan on this one, right? I would even rather, I think, have a dishonest veteran than an honest recruit. I don't know. There's something to be said for the experience, like Lan's saying, right? Like, having been through things and seeing, like, your best friend die because of a clerical error, because of a supply issue, right? Like, those people are going to be more inclined to not let that happen, you know? Veterans know what's what. They won't do their comrades wrong. They'll see that they're always fed, healthy, and warm. And it's decided. No matter what our new quartermasters are like, there's no possible way they can be worse than what we have now. The results will be reported to you, and if anything else comes up, I'll call the council right away. I like that one. That was pretty good. Hey, all right. Nice. Okay, so I think now is a pretty good time to go ahead and end this episode. If you're watching on Twitch, stick around. We might be playing some more. If you're watching on YouTube, hope you enjoyed, and we will see you next time for more Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. Bye-bye, everybody. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like, commenting, or subscribing. It really helps me out. If you'd like to see me live, head over to my Twitch at twitch.tv/thedistanthorizon.